One thing I haven't really discussed is numbers, right? I mean, we're talking to, when I talk about Coronado and Pizarro and all of these guys showing up, they got they got a merry band with them. I mean, how many Spaniards are we talking about? Really, we're talking about thousands, right? Or maybe, hundreds, maybe thousands, excuse me. And so, the question, therefore, is how does this band of hundreds or maybe thousands, how are they able to defeat empires of millions? The Aztec and the Inca Empire, they are millions strong. And how are they able to do it? Well, let's take the Aztec approach because that's the most famous. The most important advantage that the Spanish have over the Native Americans is going to be immunities, particularly against European diseases. Remember that for thousands of years, the Native Americans have been isolated from the outside world, from Europe, from Asia, for the most part, right? So they have their own unique diseases, but they don't have European diseases. Nowadays we think about smallpox as mainly as a example of the triumph of modern medicine. It certainly is. But before that was the case, smallpox was a rite of passage. It was kind of like, if you don't know what smallpox is, it's chickenpox on steroids, okay? You probably remember chickenpox. I do. And I mean, now we have a vaccine for it, but nevertheless, the chickenpox, you get all these little marks, pox on your face and on your body, and you're told not to scratch them, although it feels really good to do so. But nevertheless, at least it felt good when I had it. Smallpox is chickenpox on steroids, and it was a rite of passage for a lot of Europeans because if you survived smallpox, you got a natural immunity to it. Right, you're never going to get it again. It's kind of like chickenpox, although it can come back in the form of shingles, which is which is another story. But nevertheless, you're not going to get chickenpox for the most part again. Well, the Native Americans, they've never been exposed to smallpox. So when it goes into the native populations, it spreads like wildfire, right? And so one of the things that the Spanish, incidentally, not intentionally do is unleash these European diseases, most notably smallpox, which devastates a huge part of the population. Another major difference major advantage that the Spanish have over the natives is weaponry. Think about it. The horse was not a native animal since the Ice Ages. So Indians and Native Americans, they never seen a horse until the Spanish arrived, right? The largest domesticated animal they had was pretty much the dog and maybe the llama down in South America, right? They don't have horses. They were on foot, right? And they fought on foot. Well, compare that to a Spaniard. Spaniard shows up on a gigantic animal, a horse, right? They're wearing armor. Now, this armor is made out of metal. This is not armor made out of wood, right? Like the natives. The natives are having, they have effective weapons. They have obsidian blades, bows, and arrows. But compare that to metal swords and rudimentary firearms, right? So you have a major advantage that the Spanish are going to have against the Native Americans in the form of weaponry. They have larger animals, they have better weapons, and they have better armor. Finally, alliances, particularly when it comes to the Aztec model. Remember, the Aztecs are going to perform human sacrifice for their religion, right? But if you're a society that performs human sacrifice, are you going to sacrifice your own people? Probably not. You won't last very long, will you? So what do? You're going to find rivals, you're going to find enemies, and sacrifice them to your gods, right? So as the Aztecs are doing this, they're pissing off a lot of people, aren't they? Cortez knows this. He's abhorred by this whole human sacrifice phenomenon. So he's going to go around and find the people that the Aztecs are sacrificing and say, you know what? We don't like the Aztecs, what they're doing. And we know you don't like it because you're the ones that are suffering for it. Why don't we join together and we can help defeat the Aztecs? So Cortez, at least, has basically takes a merry band of a few hundred followers, and now it starts to build, right? It's starting into the thousands, right? So the numbers are starting to become a little more equalized. Now, Cortez is not going to have like an equal number of people that the Aztecs have, but nevertheless, when you consider disease, weaponry, and now more men on your side. This is going to be a major. These are going to be major ways that the Spanish are able to conquer the Americas.